Dear friends, English literature, Introduction to Poetry, a prayer for my daughter, William Butler Yeats. Brief questions with answers. Question 1. How is the weather when the poet's daughter is sleeping? Answer. The weather is stormy when the poet's daughter is sleeping. Question 2. What was the only obstacles in the way of the wind coming from the Atlantic? Answer. The Gregory Wood and One Pair Hill are the only obstacles in the way of the wind coming from the Atlantic. Question 3. How long has the poet prayed for his daughter? Answer. He has prayed for his daughter for an hour. Question 4. Why has he prayed for his daughter? Answer. He has prayed for his daughter due to the great gloom that was in his mind. Question 5. What has he heard while walking and praying for his daughter? Answer. He has heard the sea wind screaming upon the tower under the arches of the bridge and in the elms above the flooded stream. Question 6. What did he imagine in his excited reverie? Answer. In his excited reverie, he imagined that the future years of violence and disorder had come. Question 7. How much beauty does the poet pray for his daughter? Answer. The poet prays for his daughter beauty to be a moderate degree, not much beauty as may distract a stranger's eye or even her own eyes before a looking glass. Question 8. Why does not the poet want too much beauty for his daughter? Answer. He does not pray for too much beauty for his daughter because such beauty makes one think such beauty as an end in itself and deprives her of natural kindness and heart-rending intimacy. Question 9. Who is Helen? Answer. In Greek mythology, Helen is the most beautiful girl in the world. She is Menelaus' wife and abducted by Paris, the prince of Troy. Question 10. How did Helen find life and why? Answer. Helen found life flat and dull, and because according to Yeats, she was the most beautiful woman on earth. Question 11. Helen had much trouble from a fool. Who was this fool and what was the trouble? Answer. The man referred to as fool was Paris, the prince of Troy, and the trouble refers to the siege of Troy by the Greeks after Helen's elopement with Paris. Question 12. Whom does that great queen refer to? Answer. The great queen refers to Venus, the goddess of love in Greek mythology. Question 13. Whom does a bandy-legged smith refer to? Answer. A bandy-legged smith referred to Vulcan, the god of fire and forge, that is smithery in Greek mythology. Question 14. What do the beautiful women eat with their meat? Answer. They eat a crazy salad, that is exclusively rich salad with their meat. Question 15. How do the fine women undo the horn of plenty? Answer. They undo the horn of plenty by eating salad with their meat. Question 16. In what would the poet have his daughter chiefly learned? Answer. He would have her chiefly learned in courtesy. Question 17. What does the poet imply by the expression, hearts are not to be had as a gift? Answer. In matters of love, hearts do not automatically fall to catch other, but have to be won, especially by those who are not beautiful. Question 18. For what quality even some beautiful persons should have to be usually considered fool are considered wise? Answer. Even some beautiful persons are considered wise because of their courtesy. Question 19. What cannot many a poor man ignore? Answer. Many a poor man that has robbed, loved, and thought himself beloved cannot ignore kindness shown to him through courtesy. Question 20. Why does the poet wish that his daughter may be like a flourishing hidden tree? Answer. Because he wishes that his daughter's thoughts may be spread as the song of the linnet that sings from a tree which itself cannot be seen. Question 21. Why does the poet wish that his daughter may be like a laurel tree? Answer. He wishes his daughter to be like a laurel tree because he wants that she should be permanently famous from remaining established in one place. Question 21. What has the mind of the poet undergone of late? Answer. His mind has dried up of late. Question 23. Why has the mind of the poet dried up of late? Answer. It has dried up of late because of the minds he has loved and the sort of beauty that he has approved. Question 24. What does he say about being choked up with hate? Answer. He says that to be choked with hate may well be chief of all evil chances. Question 25. What, according to the poet's opinion, will be the result of there being no hatred? Answer. If there is no hatred in a mind, assault and battery of the wind can never tear the linnet from the leaf, that is, displace a person from his favorite place. Question 26. What is the nature of intellectual hatred? Answer. An intellectual hatred is the worst. Question 27. Who is the loveliest woman referred to? Answer. The loveliest woman is Modgon, whom the poet loved. Question 28. How was the loveliest woman born? Answer. She was born out of plenty's mouth, that is, she was born in plenty. Question 29. What kind of mind did she have? Answer. She had an opinionated mind. Question 30. When does one's soul recover radical innocence? Answer. One's soul recovers radical innocence when all hatred is driven away from it. Question 31. How will the poet's daughter be when she is able to drive away hatred from her mind? Answer. When the poet's daughter will be shorn of hatred, she will be able to flout away scowl of anybody and withstand any danger or difficulty or predicament or any hostility from anybody. Question 32. What does the poet pray about the bridegroom of his daughter? Answer. He prays that the bridegroom of his daughter may bring her to a house where all is accustomed and ceremonious. Question 33. How are innocence and beauty born? Answer. Innocence and beauty are born in custom and ceremony. Question 34. What are the equivalents of custom and ceremony? Answer. The equivalents of custom and ceremony are the spreading laurel tree and the rich horn, respectively. Question 35. When and where was W.B. Yeats born? I repeat the question. When and where was W.B. Yeats born? Answer. William Butler Yeats was born on 13th June 1865 on Georgeville, Sandymount Avenue in Dublin of Northern Ireland. Question 36. Who were Yeats' parents? Answer. John Butler Yeats was his John Butler Yeats was his father, and Susan Yeats was his mother. Question 37. Who was Modgon, and why is she important for the study of Yeats' poetry? Answer. Modgon was a beautiful lady and a political leader with whom Yeats fell in love as soon as he met her for the first time in 1889. She inspired many of his poems and influenced his thoughts and feelings. Question 38. Whom and when did Yeats marry? Answer. Yeats married George Hyde Lees in 1917. Question 39. Where was the poem A Prayer for My Daughter written? Answer. A Prayer for My Daughter was written from Torbelliley, a Norman tower in Galloway, which he purchased and set up his home in. Question 40. When W.B. Yeats was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature? Answer. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1923. Question 41. Mention some of the poetical works of W.B. Yeats. Answer. The wind among the reeds, the shadowy waters, the wild swans that cool, the tower, the winding stair, and other poems are some of his famous poetical works. Question 42. Mention some of the dramas written by W.B. Yeats. Answer. The Countess Kathleen, The Land of Heart's Desire, the king's threshold, the hourglass, the resurrection, etc. are some of his famous dramatic works. Question 43. Mention some of the prose works of W.B. Yeats. Answer. Ideas of good and evil, discoveries, the cutting of an agate, a vision, etc. are some of his famous prose works. Question 44. What is the name of the poet's daughter on whom he wrote his poem? The poet's daughter's name is Annie Butler Yeats, on whom the poet wrote this poem. Question 45. In which year was the poet's daughter born? Answer. She was born in 1919. Question 46. Why is the year 1919 famous in history? Answer. It is famous in history because the World War I ended in this year. Question 47. What kind of poem is A Prayer from a Daughter? Answer. It is a lyric. Question 48. What is a lyric poem? How can you define a lyric poem? Answer. A lyric is usually a short poem of a dozen to 30 lines, but it can be much longer than that, expressing the emotions, feelings, and thoughts of a single speaker, not necessarily the poet himself, in a personal and subjective fashion. Question 49. What is the stanza form of the poem A Prayer from a Daughter? Answer. The stanza form is ottava rima, a stanza of 8 iambic pentameter lines, having the rhyme scheme A, B, B, C, D, D, C. Question 50. What rhetorical device has been mainly used in the poem? Answer. Symbol has been mainly used. Question 51. What is a symbol? Answer. A symbol is something that stands for or suggests something else. Thank you, friends, for watching my video.